Viewers, welcome to the Personal Injury Law Show. My name's Tony Carbone. I'm a personal injury lawyer of over 25 years' experience. With me tonight I've got John Karantzis, a partner in a law firm.
Hi,
Good
Tony.
evening, John.
Hi, Tony. Hi, viewers.
And Nardine Hanna, a compensation lawyer in a law firm. Good evening, Nardine.
Hello, Tony. Thank you for having me.
Well, Tony, before we get into today's topic of work cover, what's in the news?
Well, John, there's been a number of stories in the news. There's been one in particular at the Equal Opportunity Commission.
It's
lady got $100,000 for being asked by her boss for sex on 78 occasions.
It's a shocking story, Tony. What's occurred is this lady has been literally harassed at work. She's issued proceedings in VCAT, the Victorian Civil and Administrative Tribunal, pursuant to the Equal Opportunity Act, Tony, and she's received a great judgment, hasn't she?
Oh, she has. Nadine, this is very similar to that case of David Jones, where the boss was harassing his executive.
It is, actually, and the fact that there has been such a great result in the Equal Opportunities Tribunal for this woman really makes a stand for compensation out there in Victoria. What's
really surprising, John, is that people don't learn, do they?
No,
I mean, we've had all these
Tony.
decisions and they've been making front page news and there's still this nonsense going on.
Tony, this is just unacceptable conduct. The tribunal in its judgment, lists out what actually occurred to this woman. It's frightening. I can't believe this still occurs in this day and age, Tony. Massaging, sexually suggestive comments, stuff about prostitutes on a Greek island. It's just unbelievable, Tony.
It's just belligerent behaviour, Nadine, and really it shouldn't go on in the workplace, should
Not
it?
at all, not at all. It's quite horrific to really read these types of articles and the effect of it and its prevalence in this society today.
And I guess, viewers, what really amazes me is the fact that this fellow didn't particularly care about her feelings and anything else for that matter. He thought he was above the law. But look, the message to viewers is, if you're in a position of power, just be careful what you do, because these days they'll get you. They'll come after you. Equal Opportunity Commission, there's a lot of cases similar to this, isn't there, John?
Well, Tony, claimants have rights.
That's exactly
If this occurs in the workplace, you're breaching not only the Equal Opportunity Act, but work cover laws also.
That's exactly right. Look, let's move on. There's an interesting story of a school teacher, young school teacher, that got a massive payout from the county court recently. Do you want to give us a bit of the facts on that one, Nadine?
Certainly, Tony. Now, this is a teacher that was working with De La Salle College, and she was on a school seminar and whilst in some type of role play activity had been pushed by a fellow teacher, and she sustained quite horrific injuries to her back and neck and had required multiple surgeries, and since then had went on to sue the school for damages and was awarded quite a substantial payout.
And John, what was the figures?
It's a big sum, Tony. $1.1 million by jury.
Yes.
And what was that made up of?
$860,000 for past and future economic loss and $240,000 for pain and suffering only, Tony. It's a massive verdict, Tony. Now,
so in effect, the court have said that she won't work again.
She won't work again, but this was a very novel case. A jury of 6 found this in 6 days, Tony. The trial only lasted for 6 days.
Okay.
It's a very short trial, isn't it?
It is.
And not only that, you wouldn't believe that when the case finished and the jury was sent out to reach their verdict, they only took half an hour.
It just shows you
Yes.
the evidence was all one way.
Half an hour.
Can I just say this? We had a viewer post a message on Facebook, Rachel, and she said that a friend of hers has got RSI and that doesn't want to make a claim. And what's important is that this particular young school teacher said that one of the worst things about doing her case was that the isolation she was going through, the pain, disconnection, depression, and loss of self-esteem.
Yes.
And I mean, I guess that's why people don't want to lodge claims in these circumstances. Is that correct, John?
Look, we all know, and we've said it time and time again, the work cover system, it's a complicated, litigious process. But at the same time, that's where the lawyer is supposed to make it easy for you, isn't it, Tony?
That's exactly right. And the case went for about 4 years, Nadine. That's reasonably quick.
It is for the type of seriousness and the litigious matter of this sort. It's quite a quick sort of case, it is.
And it's sad that the system, John, it takes 18 months before you can lodge a claim, Then you've got to get serious injury certificates. In this case, it would have been for pain and suffering and also loss of income, right?
Yes.
And then you've got to go through a damages trial. So in her case, it's probably fortunate they granted her certificates. Is that correct?
Well, not only that, the problem in this case was, Tony, negligence, wasn't it?
It was.
WorkCover was saying this was not the fault of the employer, this injury. Now, that's arguable.
Yep.
And I understand that she was offers had been made previous to the jury verdict to settle this case, but she refused.
But they were heavily discounted, Nardine, because WorkCover heavily disputed liability.
Of course.
They said that the exercise just went a little bit astray and it wasn't anyone's fault.
Yes,
But they have to be careful, don't they, John?
Exactly.
Look, let's keep moving. There's a Metro, the Metro sues a truck driver. What's this all about, John?
Yeah, Tony. Metro have issued proceedings against a truck driver alleging that in part he has ignored all the signals, gone through an intersection and caused this train accident, which has caused a lot of losses, financial losses to Metro.
Okay.
Now, it's a very interesting case in that they're going after the driver personally, Tony.
John, this is an insurance dispute. Metro's chasing a property damage insurer of the truck driver to recoup their losses.
Exactly.
For all the damage to the trains and things like that. Is that correct?
Tony, it just goes to show that all the viewers out there, all the drivers out there are consequences to your negligent actions on the road. You can't drive like a maniac. Correct, Tony?
That's exactly right. Yeah, you can't behave like that. Look, let's. What about this story about there's a plea to dob in staff bullies? Nardine?
Well, it seems that the statistics have shown that there have been approximately 2,000 suicides in Australia due to workplace bullying. And following the launch of a foundation implemented by the federal government to help bully victims in these types of situations.
John, bullying and harassment's costing the economy billions of dollars. Is that correct?
It's unbelievable. It's an epidemic, Tony. It has to stop. It's not acceptable in the workplace. And again, WorkCover laws and equal opportunity laws will protect those people that are being bullied. But the problem is, it's after the fact, isn't it, Tony?
That's right, that's right. Viewers, give us your Facebook views about this topic of bullying, just like Rachel did, and also go to Twitter and give us your views. We do want to hear them, and if we can answer them, we will. Just before we go, John, what about this story about lycra suits for ASIO spies?
Oh, it's a nice one, Tony. The Commonwealth Workplace Health Regulations, Tony, they forgot to exempt ASIO and ASIS, and the agents now have to wear the safety suits.
So they have to advertise their spies.
Exactly.
That's
now,
really intelligent.
Yeah, exactly. Now, I'd like to see James Bond wearing a bright safety. He
loves
vest,
going around saying he's 007, but anyway, viewers, that was on a lighter note because we've got some serious issues. After the break, we're going to be talking about WorkCover and some of the recent decisions. So please stay tuned.